In this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps to create a recovery plan when you're reporting identity theft to the Federal Trade Commission via identitytheft.gov. First thing that you're going to want to do is go to identitytheft.gov and it will bring you to this page. You want to click Get Started. I am going to browse the recovery steps and walk you through them. Step 1, you want to call the companies where the fraud occurred. You call and you talk to the fraud department. You explain that someone stole your identity. You ask them to close or freeze the accounts where the fraud occurred so then no one can add new charges to them unless you agree to that. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is change all the logins to those accounts, including all the passwords and PINs if you use PINs instead of passwords. The second step is to place a fraud alert and get your credit reports. You can place a free 1-year fraud alert by contacting just one of the 3 credit bureaus, and then that company will notify the other 2. And the information for the credit bureaus is listed here, as you can see, and you can choose one of them to call and report the identity theft. The next step is to get your free credit reports. You go to annualcreditreport.com or you can call them at 1-877-322-8228. You want to review your reports and make note of any of the transactions that you don't recognize, and this will help you to report the theft to the Federal Trade Commission and to the police. The third step is to report the identity theft to the FTC. So you do that by going to their online form, or you can call them at 1-877-438-4338 and someone will walk you through the report on the phone. Now, what I recommend that you do is get into the online form and create an account and walk you through the steps so then you can track your progress as you go, because you'll have to go back and forth between the different steps in order to get things cleared up. So that would be the best thing that you want to do. If you don't create an account, you have to print and save the report, because once you leave the website, you won't be able to access it and update it. And then you can file a police report with your local police department. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to report identity theft to the Fairbanks Police Department in Alaska. You'll want to go to alaskapolice.us/citizens-resources/ and that will bring you to this page of the Fairbanks Police Department. You scroll down to Citizen Reports and Forms and click P2C, File Report Online. From here, then you'll click Report Incident, and that will bring up the incident page. And here's where you'll start your online incident report. So you want to click that. Make sure that the incident fits and it's not outside Fairbanks city limits, otherwise they won't accept it. Click Accept, and then you'll fill out all of this information here and submit it, and then you'll be given a case number. Okay, so now that you have reported the identity theft to your local police department, you want to go back to identitytheft.gov and open your recovery plan and go through and close new accounts that were opened in your name. And you do that by contacting each of the businesses where the account was opened, and you explain to them that someone stole your identity. You ask the business to close the account, and then ask the business to send you a letter confirming that the fraudulent account isn't yours, you aren't liable for it, it was removed from your credit report. And you want to keep this letter and use it if the account appears on your credit report later on. You also want to write down who you contacted at that business and when, and some of the notes, if not all of them, from the conversation that you had. Now, I created a small Google Sheets that you can use to keep track of your communication, and I'll include it in a link in the description of the video. The business may also require you to send them a copy of your identity theft report or complete a special dispute form, and there's a sample letter that the FTC has created that can help you through that process. And then you want to go through and remove the bogus charges from your existing accounts. So again, you call the fraud department for each business, explain that someone has stolen your identity, tell them which charges are fraudulent, ask the business to remove them, ask the business to send you a letter confirming that they have removed them, and keep that letter so that you can use it when you're looking at your credit reports later on. And again, write down who you contacted and when, and the notes of the conversation. And they also may require you to send your identity theft report to them or complete a dispute form, and the sample letter is attached that can help you through that process. The next step is to correct your credit report. So, in order to do that, you have to write to each of the 3 credit bureaus, and there's a sample letter that the FTC has that you can use to help you out with that. You have to include the copy of your identity theft report, proof of your identity, your name, your address, and your social security number, and explain which information on your report came from the identity theft. And then you ask them to block that information. And then they list here all of the contact information for the 3 main credit bureaus. The next step would be to consider adding an extended fraud alert or a credit freeze to your credit report. An extended fraud alert means that a company must contact you before granting new credit in your name. It is free to place and remove. It's available if someone has stolen your identity. It lasts for 7 years, and you set it up by contacting one of the 3 credit bureaus, and then that one credit bureau must tell the other 2. So you report that someone has stolen your identity, request an extended fraud alert, and then you have to complete any necessary forms and send them a copy of the FTC identity theft report. If you want to place a credit freeze on your credit report, that limits the access to your credit report unless you lift or remove it. It is free to place and remove. It's available to anyone. It lasts until you lift or remove it, and you set it by contacting each of the 3 credit bureaus individually, request a credit freeze. You set it up by contacting each of the 3 credit bureaus individually, request a credit freeze, and complete any of the necessary forms. And here is all of the credit bureau contact information, their websites, and their phone numbers. And then you want to review your credit reports often. You can check them every week for free at annualreport.com, and that way it will help you spot any new fraud very quickly, and you can take care of it. Depending on the type of situation that you're in, you might want to report that someone has misused your social security number, or if it was lost or stolen, you can apply online for a free card. If you think that someone is using your Social Security number for work, you can review your Social Security work history by creating an account at socialsecurity.gov/myaccount. And if you find errors, contact the local Social Security Administration office and they can help you correct those errors. If you want to prevent someone from using your Social Security number to get a job, you can go to everify.gov/myeverify and create an account so that you can lock your Social Security number so that no one else can use it to gain employment. Now, generally, you cannot get a new Social Security number if there's no evidence that someone is misusing it, and you can learn more about that in this publication from the Social Security Administration. Now, the next step is to stop the debt collectors from trying to collect debts that you don't owe. So you want to write each debt collector within 30 days of getting a collection letter. The FTC has attached a sample letter that will help you with that process. You tell the debt collector that someone stole your identity, you don't owe the debt, you have to send the debt collector the copies of your identity theft report and any other documents that detail the theft. And then contact the business where the fraud account was open, explain that it is not your debt, tell them to stop reporting this debt to the credit bureaus, ask for information about the debt and how it happened, and then the business must give you details if you ask them to. And again, there's another sample letter available that will help you complete that process. And then if you haven't already, you ask the credit bureaus to block information about the debt from your credit report. And then they also have a link here about disputing errors on your credit report that you may find useful. You also want to write down who you contacted and when, and keep copies of any of the letters that you send. Now, if you lose your Social Security card or it is stolen, there's a link right here for you to apply online to get a replacement card. If your driver's license is lost or stolen, here is a link to all of the motor vehicle services throughout the 50 states. If your passport was lost or stolen, you can call the State Department and work on getting it replaced. And then if someone is arrested using your name or personal information, you can contact the law enforcement agency that arrested the identity thief, and then you can file a report about the impersonation. You're going to have to give copies of your fingerprints, photograph, and identifying documents. You're going to have to ask the law enforcement agency to compare your information to the imposters, change all the records from your name to the imposter's name, and give you a clearance letter or a certificate of release to declare your innocence. And once that happens, you have to keep that clearance letter or the certificate of release with you at all times. And write down who you contacted at the law enforcement agency and when, and the notes of the process that you went through. If a court prosecutes an identity thief for using your name, you're going to have to contact the court where the arrest or the conviction happened. Ask the district attorney for records to help you clear your name. You have to provide proof of your identity and ask the court for a certificate of clearance that declares your innocence, and keep that certificate with you at all times. You can also go to the State Consumer Protection Office, and if your state has an identity theft passport, you can apply for that and keep it with you at all times. And you also might want to consider hiring a criminal defense attorney. And here is the link to the American Bar Association directory of criminal attorneys. I have also created a small Google sheet with criminal attorney's information and have included it in the description of the video. If you're denied employment or housing, ask the employer or the landlord that used the background or tenant screening company and see a copy of the report. The company may have reported an incorrect criminal record with your name. If so, you can contact that company and give them a copy of your identity theft report and your clearance letter and ask them to remove the wrongful criminal record from the report. And that concludes the steps for the recovery plan. Thank you very much and have a good day.